Spanish funding costs continue to ease at debt auctions recently, with investors increasingly confident the Eurozone country may be over the worst of their financial problems. Joining me on the line to discuss this further is Dr. Santiago Sanchez Pages, Research Fellow at the University of Barcelona. Hello, Santiago. So do you think Spain's worst financial problems are over?
For the time being, I would say yes, that at the moment the pressure of the markets on Spain has been gone down quite a bit. We will see in the second half of this year, because the big question that we have in the horizon is how the tax revenues are going to be with an economy which is not growing, is actually contracting, and the new taxes that have been raised. Given the economic activity in the country right now, is not that sure that they are going to generate. It's uncertain whether they are going to generate the revenue needed for the country to be funded. So at the moment, I would say yes, but there is a big question mark in the second half of the year.
In a bid to meet its increased funding needs for this year, Spain aims to sell €121.3 billion of bonds in 2013, 7.6% more than in 2012. Do you think this goal is achievable?
I think at the moment, yes, because there is as clear as it can be, commitment from the EU to help Spain dispelling the difficulties in its financing. So I think that it's not too crazy to think that Spain will be able to meet these funding needs in this year. As I said, it has to still it is uncertain what will happen with the revenues, but in principle, I think that the goal is achievable right now.
And in your opinion, do you think Spain will need a bailout?
Well, as I said before, I think that we are out of the woods for the time being. There is that uncertainty that I mentioned, but the problem with the bailout is that the amount of a formal bailout would be so big, and the problem with that is that the prospects of contagion to other countries would be quite open. So such a bailout would have unforeseeable consequences for the Eurozone. At the same time, I have to say that to a large extent, the Spanish economy has been intervened by the EU, because in the memorandum of understanding that Spain signed, there are reforms that Spain should be taking, reforms on the banking system and reforms on some other dimensions, especially competition in markets. And these reforms, even though they are being slowly taken, now they are finally being implemented. And I also think that one of the reasons why financial markets have eased the pressure on Spain is because finally it seems that Spain is taking the measures that will help to restructure its banking system.
What are your long-term projections for the Spanish economy?
So the problem with Spain is that it has been dependent on the construction industry for a long time now. And what would be crucial for a sustainable and solid growth of the Spanish economy in the future would be to change the scheme of production and their main economic activities. The problem is that even though the financial situation is now better, it is quite unclear where the country is going on now. We are in some sense in uncharted territory. We know that the old style of doing economics, let's say this reliance on the construction industry, is no longer sustainable, but the question is what's going to be next. And at least in my case, from my point of view, I'm relatively pessimistic. I think that the Spanish economy will go through this type of flu, or let's say illness for some time. It's like a big bad cold, and it will be like this for a number of years until these reforms take over, and most importantly, the economy embraces a modern style.
Thanks for joining me, Santiago. That's all for now here at Dukascopy TV. We'll be keeping you updated with the latest financial news throughout the day and the trading week. For now though, goodbye.